Today's topic of discussion is cells. What are cells? Cells are fundamental units of an organism that perform specific functions that enables an organism to survive. Cells are of two types: prokaryotic and eukaryotic. Prokaryotic cells are single-celled microorganisms which are very simple but efficient enough. They are known to be the earliest organisms found on the earth. Prokaryotes includes bacteria, archaea, and cyanobacteria. Coming to the characteristics of a prokaryotic cells, they lack a nuclear membrane and organelles like mitochondria, Golgi bodies, chloroplast, and other organelles. The genetic material is present on a single chromosome, which is devoid of histone proteins that we usually observe in eukaryotes. The cell wall is made up of carbohydrates and amino acids. The plasma membrane acts as mitochondrial membrane carrying respiratory enzymes. Usually, the prokaryotic cell divides by asexual method through binary fission, and at times it involves sexual mode of reproduction, example conjugation. The prokaryotic cell structure includes four components. First component is capsule. Capsule is the outermost covering of a prokaryotic cell. It gives protection to the cell. The second part is called cell wall, which is also used for classification of the prokaryotes. The cell wall composition is very important and it is used for classifying these bacteria into gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. The third component is flagella. Flagella is whip-like structure that is seen in bacteria. This flagella is used for classification of bacteria. When it has only one flagella, it is called as monotrichous bacteria, and when it has flagella on both the ends, then we call it as amphitrichous bacteria. When you have a bunch of flagella on one end, then it is called as lophotrichous bacteria, and when the flagella is found surrounding the surface of bacteria, then it is called as peritrichous bacteria. The last component is pili. This pili is important in the case of sexual reproduction. They help to establish conjugation tube through which your DNA from males or the donor cell is transferred to female or recipient cell. The prokaryotic cell also contains a structure called nucleoid, which carries the genetic material. This component is not organized into specific structure like chromosome. This nuclear material regulates the functioning of the cell. Apart from this main nuclear material, the bacteria also has plasmid DNA. This plasmid DNA present in the bacteria offers special properties or functions to bacteria like production of toxins, resistance to antibiotics, etc. The prokaryotic cells reproduce asexually by a process called fission. In fission, the single parent cell divides into two to form daughter cells. Recombination or sexual reproduction in prokaryotes occurs by three different methods. One is conjugation, which involves the presence of two cells. The contact between these two cells are established through a structure called conjugation tube that is produced by pili. The second method is transformation, where naked DNA from the medium is taken up by the bacteria. And the third method of sexual reproduction involves transduction, where a viral gene is involved, and this viral genome, when it moves out of the bacterial cell, carries part of the bacterial chromosome to transfer into a new cell. This transduction occurs by two methods. One is called generalized transduction and the other is called specialized transduction. Eukaryotic cells. So these are highly organized cells with specific functions. So they are any cell or organism that possesses a clearly defined nucleus, and the name eukaryotic cell is derived from the Greek word. Eu means well or good and karyon or karyon means nut or kernel. Eukaryotic cells exhibit compartmentalization of cell in which specific parts are organized into special organelles that perform specific functions. Example, mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell which produces ATP. Golgi complex is the structure which is going to sort the protein and pack it and transport it to the site of destination. Because of this, we observe division of labor in the case of eukaryotic cells. The eukaryotic cells have evolved between about 1.7 billion and 1.9 billion years ago. The most important characteristics of a eukaryotic cell consists of true nucleus, membrane-bound organelles, and rod-shaped chromosomes. Eukaryotic cells includes the plant cells, animal cells, fungi, and protists. The plant cells and animal cells have lots of similar components, yet few factors are different from plant and animal cells. In the case of plant cell, we have cell wall which is not present in an animal cell. This cell wall is made of different components and accordingly the properties vary and they perform different functions. Apart from this, a major and important organelle present in the plant cell is chloroplast. This chloroplast helps in photosynthesis, that is, production of starch using the sunlight and carbon dioxide and water. This is absent in the case of animal cell. In the case of plant cell, we have large vacuoles which stores secondary metabolites, whereas in the case of animal cells, we have small vacuoles which can store glycogen granules and others. With reference to the reproduction in eukaryotes, asexual reproduction occurs by binary fission, as in the case of amoeba, multiple fission, as in the case of plasmodium. Budding occurs in yeast cells, and stabilization is exhibited by coelentrates. The polyps of coelentrates undergo stabilization to form free-swimming medusa. The sexual reproduction involves mitosis and meiosis. Mitosis involves interphase, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, and finally the cytokinesis. In case of meiosis, recombination or mixing of genetic material takes place during prophase 1. Following prophase 1, we have metaphase 1, anaphase 1 and telophase 1. This first part is a reduction division where the chromosome number halves itself. This is followed by second division, which is mitosis, where we observe prophase 2, metaphase 2, anaphase 2, telophase 2 and cytokinesis. So in meiosis, we start with 2n cells to obtain n or haploid daughter cells. The phylogenetic and symbiogenetic tree of living organisms is shown in this picture. The eukaryotes have evolved from prokaryotes, and prokaryotes have parallelly evolved as bacteria and archaea. From this group of organisms, they have evolved plantae, protista, fungi, and animalia. Based on the number of cells, the organisms can be classified as unicellular and multicellular.